ABL, seems like you got a green tea ready following the Bank of Japan decisions. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. How is everyone doing? It is Friday, towards the weekend. Hope you're all well. Good morning, Vel. How are you doing? Friday the 24th. A couple of minutes before we get started. Did have the of Japan with their policy decision, or rather, better said as policy decision. Apart from that, no. Hey Jordan, how are you doing? Did a quick scalp on yen. Much apart from that, yen is raised a little bit now, back up again. Good morning, Matic. How are you doing? Jimmy, Friday. Again, just a quick reminder, everyone. No session next week. No live week. Will be in Dubai for the Dubai Forex Expo. Invited to attend the Dubai Forex Expo. So if anyone is in Dubai, drop me a message. Long yen, long US, long yen. With a moment or two. Check something. Checking this works. Anyone did trades on the pound dollar last night? Had a quick one on pound dollar as well. Quick one on the pound dollar last night. Not much else. More one on yen this morning. Not much. My it for me for the week trades. Quite a number of good trades this week. I haven't done my how much tips it is, but quite well, I think. Good morning, Pips Apprentice. How are you doing? Good, BL. Well done. Good trade on a pound dollar. Okay, so let's get started. Again, thank you all for joining me on this daily market analysis. It is Friday, the 22nd of September. Towards the end of the week, just be extra careful as we head into the weekend. On this daily market analysis, what we do is we look at the fundamentals, do a quick review of that. Overnight, we did have the Bank of England with a bit of a surprise, little bit of a surprise, where they held rates instead of increasing rates. The voting numbers was actually quite a big change. Talk about that. We'll talk about the Bank of Japan with the policy decision. Not a lot to talk about as well. And then heading into a whole series of PMI numbers for the Eurozone, and I think for the UK as well, possibly for the US later today. Then we head into the weekend, do a quick recap, a quick look through on what's up for next, right? So for those of you who are just tuning in, just a quick reminder is that we do not have sessions live stream or the daily market analysis sessions next week. I am out of town. With that, link is there. Do make sure you join the Discord channel if you haven't already. Scammers can stay away, right? But for anyone who wants to really learn how to trade, who wants to discuss about more trades and trade setups, the Discord channel link is there. Good morning, Lainey. How are you doing? Kez. So with that, quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed advice and educational material only. Contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, so please do your own due diligence and your objectives, financial situation, and not being considered should consider appropriateness or circumstances. Okay, so with that said, yes, pips know what you mean. Let's look into. Bell missed the pound yen entry short yesterday. Taking a day off. We spoke about that, Bell. It's still a good idea. It's still a very good idea. Not trading. BL's not trading anymore today. TGIF. Well, you did one trade. You did one trade on the yen. That's still good. But yeah, I think I'm done for the. Unless something big happens. But we'll look at some possible trade setups. What happened overnight? What happened overnight was at 7 p.m. GMT, we saw the UK, the pound, the Bank of England with the interest rate decision, by somewhat expected to take it from 5.25 to 5.5%. Did not, they held it at 5.25. So relatively good news for homeowners in the UK, mortgage rates possibly staying lower for a little bit longer. But what's more interesting is that the voting, right, was 801. So 8 voting to increase, 1 voting to hold, none voting to decrease. What happened was that it was released 4 voting to increase, none voting to decrease, 5 voting to hold. And that's how we came to that decision, or how the Bank of England voting rates at percent. So that was one of the things that happened, a main feature for a little bit of a surprise from last night. And following on from that, we also did have Governor Bailey from the Bank of England saying that it's premature to start talking about rate cuts. Okay, so surprisingly dovish Bank of England, but another rate hike still possible. What happened because of this news here was that on the pound dollar, a little bit, this was at 7 p.m. This happened, so it was, we were talking about it, pound looking for price to maintain along that 1.23 level, potential straddle on the BOE position. So it did happen. It was sitting just at that 1.299 level in the lead up to that news event, the 1.23. And then we had that straddle. We had our sell entry at 1.2290, our take profit down at 1.2230. It came down to about 50 pips. I tell you that I closed out at about 41 or 40, about 40 pips. I closed out because it was way outside. So I got in. I did get into that trade. I had that straddle. I did get into that trade. But as it shot out, again, as it shot out, I saw it way outside. I thought, I'm getting out. I'm going to wait to see whether I can continue to trade that to the downside. It spiked out, but then it was still way outside of the Bollinger, so I get in. Next moment, looked at that, and then it came right back in again. Did not get into subsequent trades on dollar, but did catch 40 pips to the downside. What about you, BL? How did you go on pound dollar for that? Okay, so that was what happened on the pound dollar from the Bank of England rates. That away right now, looking bouncing. Okay, so that was last night. Unemployment claims for the US. I did not even focus on that because of all that big news we had. And then because this is weekly number, so I'm not super concerned. Nothing much else. That through to wow, DR got out at 20. So that was a quick, very quick one. Jordan, you got out quick for that. Yeah, I did. So that's one of the reasons why I use the Bollinger Bands a lot. It really gets me out relatively quickly so that I don't get caught by that big region. Um, what hurts more? What hurts more than losing a trade or getting into closing a negative trade is closing a trade that was in profit, then back into negative. I'm happy, well, happy to close out a trade that I got wrong, right? I enter a trade and it goes to negative and it goes to hit my stop loss. That's fine. Made a bad mistake, made a bad analysis. That's okay. What I really detest or try to avoid is I get into a trade, it goes well into profit, 30, 40, 50 pips into profit, get greedy, hold on to it, and then you see it swing back up and you close out at a negative. That hurts twice as much because you're not only losing profit, potential profit, you're also losing capital amounts as well. So I always use the Bollinger Band to tell me when it's outside, when it's likely to retrace, when I should close out my trade. Right? Holding on to too long is never, yeah. Thanks, appreciate that, Jordan. Hey, Carsten, how are you doing? So with that, moving on through to today, what we actually saw was Bank of Japan, the BOJ, with their policy rate staying at minus 0.1%. Monetary policy statement, if you that, yep, right? If you look at funny that, okay, if you actually compare this with the one from the previous month, right? Based on all that, it actually does look quite similar. Will actually look quite similar. And the gist of it is that the BOJ leaves forward guidance unchanged, will add to easing without hesitation if needed. What's new? Nothing is new. Will nimbly respond to prices, economy, financial conditions. Year-on-year rate of CPI increase likely to accelerate. Inflation rating, right? Main thing is that they are leaving rates unchanged, or they have left rates unchanged. They are maintaining the ultra loose monetary policy stance, and they will add without hesitation. So they with that ultra easy, ultra loose monetary policy. So because of that news, and it was released at 10:52 a.m. GMT plus 8, what we saw here on pound on the US yen was a breakout to the upside, right? So yesterday we were drawing this straddle at that 148.80 level, right? But I was saying that overnight it comes back down to this level. I would draw it. I'll do my straddle at this point. Did get in, caught about a 20 pip move that way upside on the pound US yen. Still thinking about pound dollar on the US yen. So this was the news here as it broke to the upside. Then that retrace when it was that away for now. Right, as it was retracing, I thought maybe it's going to come back down, but as it retraced, push back up. Now what I'm possibly looking for is for it to break that previous high, it continue upside. That's what, right, for it to break that previous. As it shot up and as it was retracing, I was telling in the Discord channel, hey, it's gone up, but still looking for further upside on the US yen. Why I'm anticipating further upside? Because of that maintenance or the continuation of that ultra loose. Okay, so that's all that has happened while since the last time we spoke. Now, in due to be released is French manufacturing and services PMI. Again, bad news, going from 46, was revised from 46.4 down to 43. French services PMI 46 down to 43.9. You can see that the euro dollar is dropping there. Okay. In 15 minutes, we have the German PMI numbers. Doesn't look like it'll be good news. Well, remember that last week we had the ECB meeting, and it was President Lagarde was actually indicating economic data not looking so good in the eurozone. So, not expecting this to be good numbers. Looking at that downside on the euro dollar, right? This is slowly turning into a live trading session already, but this view will still hold. I would still be looking for the euro dollar to break below 1.0625, right about there now, right, to push down. I wouldn't do anything right now, just because this move is because of French number. You wanted to look at what happens on the German, and then we have the Eurozone number at 4 p.m. So there's still a little bit of a move to be had. 4:30, we've got the UK with their manufacturing and services PMI. Might also signal a slowdown, maybe not as significant as the Eurozone. And then later tonight, we have the Canadians with their retail sales numbers looking like a small rebound. And the US with the manufacturing 40 looking like we might see a bit of a rebound, but that might lead to some dollar strength. I think that we'll see some dollar strength come back into play over these events, which is what we're seeing here right now. Okay, so I am anticipating that as much as the euro dollar can drop, I would think that it's going to retrace a little bit or continue. So I'm not going to rush into trade. For me, I'm pretty much done for the week. Look at it retrace now. So as we are speaking, as it's dropping, I'm saying wait for it to retrace. It's retracing right now. Look at 30, look at 4 o'clock for potential downside towards the. Okay, so that's the news to be released. Then looking at charts. Right, so the dollar index is pretty much moving as planned. It was at when we were talking about it, was at 105, about 105.50. We're saying it's going to come down towards 105.30 before pushing back up again. I did not change the lines. It came down to 105.29, about 1 pip or 2 pips, and then it's gone up towards as high now as 105.76, right? Still looking at more upside potential, especially if euro dollar, pound dollar continues to drop because of that PMI number later on, slightly later on. So that's working as planned. I'm super happy about that. Do help me out if you think that that was a good analysis. Click that like button, click the rocket ship button. Try and get more people onto this session. Very seldom we see bounce. And what do you see from this news? Is it due to FOMC or next week potential US government shutdown? Treasury 10-year yield rise to 4.5 for 2007. The Treasury yield is an interesting angle to look at it. BL, I have not seen that apart from reading it here what you're sending. I would say let me gather my thoughts on that a little bit further before I answer on that. Okay. Treasury, you just take a little bit more analysis. I don't know why it's doing that rather than just based. And I did not know, was not aware of a potential government shutdown again. Talking about it happens, it comes up so frequently, doesn't seem to have a threat anymore. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We can take that again. If you have not already, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button because the next year is. What do you mean? Okay, because the next year is 2008. Why 2000? Oh, okay, okay. I see what you mean. Okay, let me gather my thoughts on that and I'll get back to you. Dollar is dropping. The index is still pushing to the upside. That way, that raise push up, land 105 dot there. That don't. Next level is up here. 106. Don't see why dollar index get to 106. Why it should get that. That was the last high. Thanks to slightly rare occasion that slightly off dollar could get. Also because this is going to gain some strength, not because of dollar strength, but more possibly towards that dollar, the relative strength. So everything else weakening. That's why we're seeing the dollar push up. What I anticipate might happen, dollar here, that could get up that 105.90, then raise back. Because I don't know why. Sound fair? Come up, comes up to this point, it might come back down, test, bounce around it. I don't see about it. Gather my thoughts. I think might actually get to one. What I would be test 106 and trace fluctuate along. So what I'll be looking for here on the 2nd of September is dollar index could spike up to 106 and then retrace to consolidate along 105. I'm looking for it to go up, test 106, consolidate area. Being Friday, could it retrace all the way? I don't know. I think that retracement long one 5 dot what are for some structure around 106. Yeah, I think could get up to this point and consolidate. Okay, let's go with that view. So overall, still upside on the dollar index, might consolidate, but still looking at the Y. So with that, then looking at the dollar, gone back up. So it's a bit odd that you're seeing that dollar strength push up, not reflected here on dollar. That did not trigger, take that away. It's testing that 50% level. Down a little bit. Testing that 50% level. And respecting somewhat that trend line. That this might be a bit of a move against dollar. Short term push up for a trace back down again. Right, so looking at this, it doesn't break above 1.8. Doesn't break above this point. Would see it down to test. Looking at that dollar strength, 5.945. Stop loss more than 20. Take profit back down to this line at 30 on the dollar, on the key dollar. Structure around 106. 35 is quite far. Trend line. I think that might get there by next week. I think we're going to trace a little for the next put. Don't, because it's also towards the okay, so I'm looking for this to push up, turn back. I have half of mine, one whole mind, half of mine think that could also push all the way back up, down. But with the way the dollar is moving, I don't know why it should, why I'm looking. Okay, so 5945, 15. 595 stop loss, 50 profit. Then on to the Aussie. So look at that. Kiwi dollar is still trying to show some upside. Aussie dollar is just being right there, not that. 23.6 holding. Still, I would say, so that didn't trigger very close trigger that below 0.4. The 23.6 holds price that turned back down, breaks below this point, fell down. So Aussie dollar 6.4 stop loss, stop loss 55. What I'm looking again, the same thing is if it retraces, still not looking to do anything, unless it reacts to that. And I don't know why it should. So anywhere in the middle, not doing anything, unless it gets to the test and reject to 20 pips down to this point where we that push looking if 23.6 holds, I would sell down as it breaks that round number. Goes up to test 61.8, look for rejection or selling. Alternatively is 6470 20 or 0.6 stop loss profit. Good morning, Goju. Long time no see. How are you doing? To the US yen, look at that. It found came very close to the equal high, forming a bit of a now that forming equal high there, back down to about 4.8. Down to about this for what I'm looking for here on yen, the reach would looking to buy if it breaks above that, checking those 48. What you regardless of how it retraces, how far it reaches by looking to buy, oh, it's very tight. It's to the side. I would be extra cautious, and that looks like what you can do. Here's two things. Either it's going to retrace, do a small trade back up again, or because it's weak, what I'll be for is where it come down, test, bounce. I'll be a bit more selective trade as the sense that I would only be looking if it has a big move. Look for it to come all the way down. Test 147.80, bounce off. Look to buy 147.95. Stop loss 25. Profit 5. Okay, so this is what I mean by, yeah, I'm pretty much done for the week unless I see big moves. I'm not going to enter and try and mess about with 30 pips to the upside on the US yen if it was the end of the week after a big week. Unless I see that kind of. So 147.95, 25 to 5. 5.5. After, and remember that this was the week. This was the week we had where we saw Canadian CPI numbers, saw the UK CPI numbers, Fed Reserve had SMB, had BOE as well, and we had the BOJ, right? Um, Super September, week in Super September. So it had big moves with big move volatility. Made some very good trades, trading the news like what Bill was saying in the group. So I don't feel like you should be rushing it. Look for retrace, look for bounce, look for that same good setup that typically, rather than try and sell that 30. What could happen? Try and squeeze out 30 pips on the US yen to the upside. Next moment it retraces, hits a stop loss, then spoils the whole. Okay. Then on to the pound dollar, coming out for 30, anticipating a little bit of a rebound. Might see the back up a little bit. Had big move down already. Was last night. Faced with 32, failed to break down a little. I don't think it's going to retrace or back up to 10. But overall, still looking downside for pound dollar. What you can possibly look for is downside below 1.55, stop loss, take profit, 6 pips to the downside, valuation back. But I will be more happy with that. Start with that small move on the yen. That one's $10. Aussie dollar, I'll take a look for it to retrace further. Dollar, I'm that move. I want to see it break up on dollar 1.255 32. Friday should be a profits securing day, not a crazy day. So sell 1.22555 stop loss 30, take profit bit good. Now then on to the euro dollar. As I was saying, lucky, unlucky guys, if you were trying to trade that session, if you're live with us, as it spiked down, I said, wait a minute, don't rush into the trade. That was the French PMI numbers. Bad news, but look at the German numbers, terrible, right? Not terrible. 39.1, 38, 37.3, 40, 47.49.8. A little bit of a rebound. Might see a little bit of a mixed number here, but going to prep for that downside on the euro. Okay, so this is why I was saying don't rush into that. We have an equal low here on the euro dollar. We want it to break down before we sell. So 106.24, 106.20, stop loss 25, 20 pips, take profit 5 to the downside. Okay, so again, Bollinger say the day. Way outside, don't rush in, rebounded. Now look for it to continue down slow. 106.20, 20, 106, stop loss, profit 5. Okay, that's forming a bit of a pattern. Right, with pattern with the then on the US Swiss franc, looking for that push up. In that view, so we're saying US Swiss franc spike up, look for continue was 0.1. That news, that spike up, did together yesterday because of the SMB decision, pushed up and then did not continue. It came back down because of the dollar, slightly because of the dollar. Now pushing back at 0.99055. Still looking for it to test 9.1 before we decide on what to do. So say that look for continuation. Looks like it's a day to release. This is the day that's going to, and the impatient ones will be the ones that trades. Okay, CAD pushed up slightly, did not do too much. Take that away. Now consolidating. Dollar index is still showing the upside potential, so that should be pushing up. But basic a little bit, that tested 50, tried to push up, now retracing. that don't do unless it breaks above resistance. Found a good double. What I like here is a good double bottom at this point. Pushed up, found 50%. So long as it stays above 1.3440, we are still looking for the upside. If it breaks past point, then we're going to down. Ultimately, not doing anything here unless it breaks above. Then you're looking to buy it up 1.35. Stop loss tight, 20 pips most. Take profit could be at 40. Then you could test. I don't see why it shouldn't. Do have Canadian retail sales later tonight at 8. Retail sales month to month 0.1 to 0.4. Core retail sales minus 0.8 to 0.5 expected. That comes around. We're going to see some strength on the Canadian dollar. So maybe what we actually might see come down to test this support and bounce back. Let's revise that. Considering possibility of the retail sales number bringing some strength, Canadian dollar, we might see test, bounce, back up. What I'll be looking for is 1.450, 20, 40 pip that. 1.450, stop loss 20, take profit 40. Side. Sales. Val's got a question. Is there was pound news which was negative, but pound pair not moved. However, 1 hour later it was short. Which pound news? This one, the retail sales number. Okay, I think that's one. Oh, perhaps the news. Yep. Okay, thing to look out for here is that although was a red number, if you think about it, it was minus 1% last month. So revised to minus 1.1%. So given that it's gone from a negative 1.1 to a positive 0.4, still a relatively good number on the retail sales in terms of retail sales. But why it's negative, why it's red, why it's considered negative is because it's less than forecast, and it's only missed the forecast by a 0.1%. So overall, you actually see retail sales number grow month to month from a negative 1.1 positive 0.4, just a bit less than forecast. What we actually saw here on the retail sales number, back to the pound, was that at there, a little bit. We actually did see some volatility pound dollar, right? It did push down a little bit because it was a red number. It pushed back up a little bit because 0.4 is better than minus 1.1%. Couldn't push higher despite a 0.4% number because overall still big downtrend on the pound dollar. So you would actually have seen it push down before pushing back up again. Reflective. It's a month-to-month number on retail sales. The change from minus 1.1 to 4. Did see that spike and the retrace. So I think it was relatively well reflected already in terms of the price volatility. Does that make sense? then 1 hour later they all shorted. So 1 hour later at this move, they all shorted primarily because of that number, right? That number for the French, which led to the euro dollar pushing down. As the euro dollar pushed down, that euro weakness led to relative strength on the dollar index pushing up. Because of that relative strength on the dollar led to that push down on the pound dollar. So it's all the total balance there. Okay, hope that makes sense. Then down to gold. Right, gold, as we were talking about this, below 1924 could reach 1917. Look what it did. This again moved like perfect, almost perfect. We were right here yesterday, that point, right? And we said below 1924, which is that 50% level, broke 1924, went down towards 1970. In fact, it got as low as 19.40 something, then retraced back. That worked like perfect. Worked to a T, down, bounce off that 61.8 and level there to push back up. So now, with the interesting view is that dollar up, showing some upside potential, but gold as well pushing to the side. So not moving in, but back up that one. Now let's try this here. Broken 23.6, trying to break 30.2. What I would say now, level to watch is at 50. The relatively close to the 61.8. So what I would be looking for is whether it could test 1937. Yeah, I think upside to fight dollar, some dollar strength. We might see dollar consolidate. So looking for gold to climb to 1937 with about first and there we have it. So I think that gold is likely to continue coming up to there we have it. Short, relatively short and sharp. Wise dollar index, they long 10 consolidate or push up 5.6 105.4 5.9. Good looking. So how it would look like, I said waiting to dollar consolidating along this point, then later on okay, there we have it. If you have any questions, put it into the Discord channel. If you have any questions, put into the Discord channel. Not do have a good weekend. Don't feel like you have to rush out any trades today. Have a super weekend ahead. Just a quick reminder again, no sessions, no live. I am still available on Discord, so do drop me a message, trade question, or after. There now. Bye.